Hi guys, welcome to my channel. In this channel we provide the in-depth knowledge of different programming languages like C, C++, Java, Python, .NET, etc. which differentiate you with others. In our series of Java programming language, today we are going to discuss a very important topic and basic topic, object and primitive data type. How we can compare an object or how we can compare a primitive data type, that we will going to see. So without wasting the time, we should start here. How we can compare an object or how we can compare a primitive type data. So let's start. Comparing objects in Java. While dealing with the primitive data types, comparison between two primitive data types can be done using equality operator that we have already doing from last I think 2-3 decades when we are start doing programming in C, C++. If you want to compare two primitive data type, we can use equality operator double equal to sign. But when we talk about to compare the objects in Java, so something happens, that is in Java this equal to operator doesn't compare the data, it compares the addresses. How? Let's see. Here we are having a small program class myInteger, public static void main string str, int x is equal to 33, int y equal to 33. What is x and y? X and y are nothing but the primitive data type. X and y are the integer of integer. If x equal to y, system.out.println equal, else system.out.println not equal. So when we execute this program, the output will be system.out.println equal. I think no doubt here, the output of this program will be equal since both x and y have the same value. Now let's try to write the same program using integer class objects. Now this primitive data type is converted into integer class or a wrapper class. Let's try to write that program using integer class. See here. Here we are having a class myInteger, public static void main string str, integer x is equal to new integer 33, integer y is equal to new integer 33. So what is integer? Integer is a predefined class which we can use in the place of int primitive type. So what is x and y here? X and y are references which is referring to two objects of integer class. What is the name of that object? The name of the object is anonymous. There is no name of that object. That object is referenced by x and y. So when I write if x equal to y, now what happens? X is a reference referring to an object of integer class. Y is another reference referring to another object of the integer class. So x is holding suppose 1000 and y is holding suppose 2000. So when we try to compare if x equal to y, no doubt both are having 33 as a value, but the output of this program is not equal, whether it should come equal. Getting my point? Why? Here we are not comparing the values. Here we are comparing what? Here we are comparing the references x and y, which is referring to two anonymous object which is created using new operator. Now see here, the output of this program however would be not equal even both the objects have the same value. The reason is that equal to compares the x and y references, not the values that x and y is referring to. Getting my point? Now if you want to compare the values of an object, then you have to do something else. What we can do, that we will see here. Now diagrammatically we have explained this x and y are two references, object without name, object without name. This x is referring to this object and this y is referring to this object. This object is at 1000 and this object is at address 2000. So x is holding 1000 and y is holding 2000. So when we try x equal to y, what happens? 1000 and 2000 is compared, that is not equal. That is why we are getting the output not equal. Now if we modify this program, now when I write if we modify this program, now when I write integer y equal to x, now here y is what? Y is a reference. We are not creating any object here, because in Java there is only one way to create an object. Until or unless you write a new keyword, object cannot be created in Java. Why? Because in Java only reference type objects are supported, whereas in C++ we can create two types of object. One is value type object and second one is reference type object. Means in C++ if I write integer y, so y is an object of integer class, I can write integer asterisk y is equal to new integer. So in C++ there are two types of object, one is value type and second one is reference type, whereas in Java there is only one type of object, that is reference type. Means make it very clear in your mind, until or unless you write a new keyword, you cannot create a object in Java. So when I write integer y, what happens? A reference is created to an integer class, and when I write y equal to x, x is holding what? X is holding 1000, that 1000 is stored in y. Now see here, this is x, this is y. So when I write y equal to x, so x will be containing 1000. Now if I compare x equal to y, it will display equals. Now what happens? There is only one object is created which is referred by both the references x and y. So if x equal to y, it will display equals, whereas in the case of integer x and integer y, it is not displaying equal y because they are referring to two different objects. Getting my point? Now, how we can compare? Therefore, two objects cannot be compared using equal to in terms of value contained. To compare the values contained by the two objects, equal methods can be used. Now, equals method is an method of object class, and in Java every class, whether it's a predefined class or a user defined class, every class is derived from the object class. That is some different things that we are going to discuss in the future classes, that is function overriding. But now if you want to compare the values of two objects, so we can use equals method. How? Let's see. Class myInteger, public static void main string str, integer x is equal to new integer 33, integer y is equal to new integer 33. It is exactly same that we are using in the previous program. Now when I write if x dot equals y, what is equals here? Equals is a method of an integer class. It can be called using object. X dot equals y, so it will compare the content, not the references. Now the output is system.out.println equals. So it returns what? It returns boolean value. Either it will return true or either it will return false. Now it will display equals because equals compare the values, not the references. So this is how in Java we can compare two objects or the value of two objects using equals method rather than equal to operator. Primitive data type can be compared using equal to operator, whereas if you want to compare the contents of the object, then you have to use equals method that is declared in the object class and which is overridden in the integer class. Getting my point? So go through this program. This is very important. Make it very clear in your mind that in Java all the objects are anonymous object. What does it means? That they are having no names, they are always referred by a reference. So when I write integer x, so x is not an object, x is a reference referring to what? Nothing, until or unless you write equal to new integer. Now when I write integer x is equal to new integer, one anonymous object without any name object is created which is referred by an x as a reference of integer class. Whether it's a predefined class or a user defined class, every object in Java is referred by a reference. Make it very clear. Okay, go through this. If any doubt you can ask me. I will try to reply as early as possible. Okay, this is how. The moral of the story is, if you want to compare the contents of the object, you have to use an equals method, and if you want to compare a primitive data type, you can use equal to operator. I think today we should stop here. In next class we will discuss something else regarding overriding and overloading. If you like the contents of this channel, please like, share and subscribe as much you can. It will motivate us. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.